Hi everyone, welcome back. Chris Stout here. This is a new series that I have on the channel. It's going to be my experiences with ordering a 2026 911 992.2 Carrera. And my little upside surprise, a little spoiler alert, I'll tell you what the surprise was. When I first put in this order, it was not for the Carrera T. It was for a regular base Carrera. So I'm going to go through what this process is like. I'm going to take a kind of a deep dive into the configurator that Porsche has and tell you kind of about what that whole process was like. I have ordered this car back in August. I'm recording this in January. August. I ordered it in August 2025. Talking about this in January 2026 and hopefully be able to do a European delivery and cover that. But stay tuned to this specific series in the channel and look in the show notes below for all the other things that I have out there. But let's, without further ado, let's get going on this. To start, I'm really kind of a Porsche fan. This is not my first Porsche. I've had a variety of them. I've raced them, Tail of the Dragon, Nürburgring, etc. I have owned four. The two 911 996s that you see there, hardtop and convertible, 1970 911 Targa T, 911T, and a Eurospec 928, some of which I've done customizations on, restorations, etc. But the thing that's new for me is actually using the configurator and building, in a sense, speccing out my first new Porsche. So this is the configurator. You can just go to Porsche.com. You can create a file if you care to. You don't have to. And it starts you off with the 911 and the 718. And then you can look at the electrics and whatever else. I'm not going to do that in this video, but you're certainly welcome to. It's quite fun. Very well done. When you first start with the base, you start with the base Carrera models, and that's where I started. They start you off here with the plain vanilla Carrera, which is where I started. And I'll tell you once we get into this how I wound up with getting the manual Carrera T. You can then go to the S, you can go to the four-wheel drive version, the 4S, and then you can really kind of up things with the GTS, the Carrera 4 GTS. And then, not to go into all of these, but then you can go through all the variations with the 911 Carreras and the Targas and the GT3s and the turbos. And you can also see if you blow this up, the prices are now in the 200s by the time you get into the turbos and Turbo S, etc. And then really kind of the halo cars, the 911 Spirit 70 in honor of the 70th anniversary of the 911. This track monster 911 GT3 RS. I had the opportunity to drive a 992.1 GT3 on Tail of the Dragon, which was just unbelievable. I drove safely, but it was just really quite the experience. And then really kind of the super halo, the tribute car 911 GT3 90 in honor of Ferdinand Porsche. So really kind of incredible cars there at also incredible prices. Looking at that at $387,000 to kind of start with. So really kind of amazing. So for me, what you're going to see here is with the spec for the Carrera T. And the story behind that, the upside surprise, when I had made the order for just a regular Carrera, base Carrera, spec'd out to what I had wanted, which is a problem that I had with the Aero kit, which you can look in the other video and hear that saga. The link for that is in the show notes below. But basically, I'd put this in, and then around November, I got a call from the dealer. And the dealer said, kind of, I think this is good news, bad news. But the good news was that the allotment had come in. And I think maybe they thought I was kind of maybe did not have an affinity toward manuals. But they said, hey, it's a Carrera T. You can either wait, and we can wait to get another allotment for something that's not the manual. Or we can, keep you at this point in the order, in the line. and you can get the manual. And I was like, absolutely, count me in. So I was very excited to be able to do that with the manual. So this time I went through the configurator with it specifically for spec for Carrera T, and pretty much matching what I had done. The primary differences when I had done it just as a base versus the T is like the chrono packages and a variety of other kinds of things. There's things that come as base, if you will, when you go with the T option. So that's what this will look like. But it'll also be, if you're interested in the T, this is what you're going to see in this video. If you're interested in a base spec Carrera, it's probably 95%, 98% going to be the same. So general kinds of things. The T is a little bit slower than the paddle shifting Tiptronic, or PDK, I guess it is these days, sorry. So I think it's around maybe a sub 4 second if you go with the automatic. But again, the fun of the manual is kind of what we're dealing with here. And just a little bit more of the spec. These are all things, if you're on the configurator, kind of what you're going to be seeing is the introduction. And it gets into a wonderful set of nerdy details and whatnots as well, too. So this is where it actually gets the most fun. So I picked the color here, which is the GT Silver Metallic, which you can kind of see with the little box, extra box around it here. The, pardon me, color will change. So you can just sort of play with the different colors. You can also play with different backgrounds. You can also play with it being daylight or night, which is just really kind of nerdy fun. I guess it does maybe make a difference in terms of what colors you might choose, but generally I think most people come to it with an idea of what general colors they would like to be able to see or spec things out. So if you look at the lower left-hand corner of the image, you can see where it shows the little icons for pictures and for the little slice of the moon and the photos, and this is where you can change the views. You can do a spin it and do a 360 view, etc. So again, just really great fun. So after paint, the next spec is going to be wheels. One of the other things I should probably say here at the onset is that I have a pretty basic spec for this car. And then you're going to see a surprise at the end, even with a basic spec of what this thing's going to price out at. So I like these wheels. I think they're terrific. You'll see in a minute a much more expensive package that will look very, very similar to this. But this is just the basic standard equipment, zero cost option. I like the sport text, honestly. You can go with the standard would be leather. That would be an increase. But again, this is a zero cost option and really kind of an homage and tip of the hat to the early days with the fabric inserts and plaid sport text, which I think is personally kind of cool. This is a little bit better view of what that looks like. Pardon me. I also have the basic four-way adjustable seats. I did spec mine out, and you can see it here. There are back seats. I do want back seats because I think that periodically I probably will have a second or third passenger. If you do go with the really high spec seats and stuff like that, they don't fold. You can see here for 6,700, you can get the folding ones, so you can play with all those things as well too. My seats are heated. They are not ventilated. I believe you can only get the ventilated ones if you go with the leather spec. So now back to exterior packages and options. This is what the base looks like. If you listen to my other or watch my other video, you'll see I tried to do the aero kit, and at the time that I'm recording this, and the problem I had with them and that's talked about in the other video is that the aero kit was unavailable. It surprises me because in the configurator, I tried this. I clicked the aero kit and it put the aero kit on it and accepted it, no problem. What I had to do as a plan B is go with the sport design package. So you'll notice now that the front nose looks a little bit different, and it also has side skirts added to it. And that package does cost, it's just a scoosh over $5,000. And you can see here You can go, if you care to, you can break it out. You could just have the side skirts, or you could just have that new sport design front fascia, etc. with it. Or you could kind of tweak out a variety of other kinds of things with the window trim and with your rear view mirror covers. With the spec of the T, the covers automatically come at the color. I believe that it looks darker, but I think it's somewhat matches. It's like a darker silver. It's different than the silver of the whole car. Looking at it from the top, I do like roadsters, I like convertibles, etc. And I just feel a little claustrophobic when I don't have the ability to open up the top. So I had to have a sunroof. I also like, so I spec'd it for that. You can see that the sunroof, glass sunroof, is just a little bit over $2,000. It comes standard with the roof transport system if you want to put a roof rack or a bike rack or things like that on it. And also, personally, I think it looks nice with kind of that continuation. Not that a lot of people are going to see the car from a bird's eye view, but to have the black of the top, the little black bit of trim in between the glass paneled sunroof and the rear glass, and then the black of the engine cover there too. I just think that looks nice. I am toying with the idea of getting a dry carbon fiber hood that would be gloss and be black as well, and it might also carry that theme on. So stay tuned. If I do that, I'll post a video of it, what that experience is like. So continuing on with the exterior, you can do the striping comes with it, like the little Carrera T on the side comes with. You also get the side window sticker, which is kind of controversial for some folks, that shows the 6-speed pattern, which I think is kind of cool. I'm going to leave mine. It's a leased car. I think it probably will, in some nerdy way, add value. You can always leave it and take it off versus take it off and try and put one back on, which probably would be problematic. But anyway, you can also do a decal delete if you want to. What I've learned from the dealer, at least that's what it seems like with the dealer I'm working with, is that it might come from the factory with it, and then the dealer would remove it. But anyway, I like how it looks. I tend to like these kinds of things. It's personal taste, but I think with the silver, it's a little bit invisible. It doesn't like scream at you. It's not in some bizarre color. It's not a weird contrast. I personally don't like, if you look at the upper right-hand corner, the extended decal package, where you see the striping going down the car. That's something I didn't care for, and because I'm getting the black top, it just really kind of wouldn't work with how I'm doing things. So headlights, if we take a look at this, continuing on with the exterior, you can get the add-on headlights. People have just really, been very happy about the HD matrix design. I do think those look cool, but again, this is a leased car. I don't care to spend an extra, $2,000, $2,500 for those headlights. It probably, just in my situation, my circumstance, isn't really worth it. Same with the puddle light projectors. All these kinds of things I think are super cool. If I were going to buy the car and keep it for 10 plus years, these are probably things that I would indeed do. But for me, in my situation, my goal is to enjoy the car for about 2 years and then see what comes next after that. So it really wasn't worth the additional pricing for that. Now to the interior. Again, you can get more leather, you can get the blue trim, etc. I didn't really care for the blue trim, so I went with the trim in black. That's a zero cost option, but you can really kind of do a variety of different kinds of things to customize and personalize your interiors. You can do the back seats of your car with a painted inlay, etc., etc. So it's really kind of amazing to me how custom you can actually even just go into what your seats are. Not just the style of seats, but the styling of the seats with fabric and stitching and leather and heated and ventilated, etc., etc., etc. And ditto for the steering wheel column. I mean, it just sort of amazes me that you can have, 5, 6 different kinds of things going on with your steering wheel. I chose, as you can tell, none of those. And if you look in the larger picture on the left, this is what the interior is starting to shape up like. So again, just more leather bits and baubles and things. I did go with the cigarette ashtray thing, and I don't smoke, and quite against that. But my salesperson said like it's a little thing that you can easily put coins or mints or chapsticks or whatever else in to hold them, rather than the cup itself. It pops out if you want to put a coffee cup in it or whatever. So it's a zero cost option. So I did go for that. The price was certainly right. And you can do a variety of different kinds of sun visors, roof lining, and race text. You can get your door seal illuminated, a variety of things here too, which fun on the configurator. But and you don't really see a whole lot change in the larger image if you endorse these, but or add these as a spec, but they are available. And fire extinguisher is kind of tempting just for fun. But again, no, I did not do any of that. I didn't endorse it here, but I did on my spec of the storage net for the passenger footwell. Again, the thought being that why not, and the price was right. And you can really get into the minutia and esoterica here with bespoke vehicle keys, painted cases, etc., etc. You can get personalized manual wallet for your owner's manual, etc., which I chose not to do. You can even get this. I thought was crazy: carbon fiber floor mats with leather edging. That's a new one for me. I never have seen that one before. So again, if you want to spend $1,000 for that, and you got 20 different choices of colors, that you certainly can. So this is kind of what the interior, again, is shaping up to look like. You can do some other kinds of spec here. It comes standard, obviously, with the 6-speed sport transmission. Once I get the car, we'll get into more of those specs and details about what's going on with it. The other kinds of, you can get the night vision assist, lane change assist, etc. Again, for me in my situation, really not helpful things and not necessarily worth those prices. These weren't either the high-end stereo. I do have a Burmeister in my Mercedes right now. It's amazing. It's wonderful. But again, for $5,000 more, it really did not seem worth it. I don't know what is standard in it. I thought the Bose might be, but you can tell from here it's not. So again, once I take delivery of the car, we'll talk about that and see what's what. If some of you already have this car, tell me if you do have the non-upgraded, then let me know what's what. There's the smoking package that I did get for mine. You can also get a front dash cam, etc. I had that on a 2023 Corvette C8. And I used that at the track, and it was really great to be able to do those kinds of recordings and whatnot. So that was cool. Here's the wheel package that I foreshadowed earlier on. If you have a very good memory, or if you just want to reverse back up in this video, you can see that the wheels that I ordered do not, to me, look a whole lot different than this, though. So the issue might just be size differences. But if I spec this out in any of these 3 different packages, it's really kind of amazing of how the price jumps. So no surprise, I did not do that. I mean, if you're like, if this was a GT3 or something like that, then it kind of makes sense. But again, for me, really being kind of basic and budget conscious, I did not do that. And then again, you can kind of go down crazy town with car covers and roof racks and bike racks and a dog carrier, etc., etc. You can get all sorts of customizations with your, you want an indoor cover, an outdoor cover, whatnot. So really kind of cool that you can do that, but certainly stuff that you could, I presume, get aftermarket as well. Dash cams, whatnot. So Porsche junior seat rather than a baby seat, etc. So really kind of cool kit. For this, I did spec for the European delivery. You'll see on my build sheet in just a second. It's a little confusing because they show, like in the lower quadrant of this on the right side, that like the Zuffenhausen delivery transport is 0. But if you look at the upper right-hand side, it's Sonderwunsch. I guess I'm probably mispronouncing that. Delivery at Zuffenhausen is 6,000. I did spec for that. And I hope that gets to happen. It's looking like it will. I'll show you about that in a minute. My problem is that I may be actually out of the country on another activity and unable to maybe be able to do the European delivery. I got an Audi A7, a 2015 Audi A7, and did European delivery in 2014 and just had a wonderful experience driving it on the Autobahn. Happened to be there during Oktoberfest, went to De Guernsey and Ingolstadt and Munich, and just really had a wonderful time. So I'd like to do that again with Porsche. An interesting thing about this, back when I did it with Audi, it was the car that I had spec'd and bought. This is back in the day where Navi was a little different than CarPlay hadn't been invented yet. So they gave me a Garmin to be able to get around in Europe because my car was spec'd for US Navi. How they do it with Porsche is that I will get introduced to my car, I'll see it, I'll get oriented to it, they'll wrap it up and they'll send it to the United States. I will have available to me some Porsche. I hope it's a 911. It would be great if it's a T, and be able to drive around for a period of time. I'm sure there's a limit to it, but probably, for a few days to a few weeks if I care to, which I hope I will be able to do and do it that way. So anyway, stay tuned for that if indeed that does pan out, but you'll see what that looks like with the Build app in just a second. So, pardon me. At the spec that I have here, you can see it's pricing out to about $154,000. This is its calculation for the payment. Price for equipment is pretty minimal for how this is spec'd out. One of the other things I did on mine, which, pardon me, I don't think I did in this build, was do the front end lift. You'll see all my spec in just a minute, but back to the configurator. This is, it'll show you what's what with the headlights, with the rearview mirrors, with that new front fascia, with the color you choose, etc. And then you can just go in and get a summary. And this will show you kind of what's what. You'll see a lot of either stuff that's standard or zero equipment or zero charge, standard equipment or zero charge, which is nice and just kind of prices it out in a very clear, straightforward kind of way, which I really like. It's a very clean design, and Porsche should be complimented for that. So again, back to a summary with the spec that you just now saw. When you go through the PDF, you get a downloadable PDF, and then they give you just beautiful, sexy boudoir shots of what the car in the spec that you've put in looks like, inside, outside, top and bottom. So, pardon me, then once you've done this, you will get a email from them telling you that you can start to track your Porsche. When I first got this and said track your Porsche, I thought they meant like taking my Porsche to Road America or Road Atlanta or something like that. They didn't. They mean actually tracking my Porsche. So you can then download it on from the App Store or Google Play. I have an iPhone, so I did the App Store. And this is what it looks like on my screen. So if you look kind of midway on the left-hand side, you'll get a little My Porsche. You open that up, and then it'll tell you what it has. So before I had the T, it just said my Carrera, and before I was able to get the spec of it looking like this, because I'd originally done it as Aero, it didn't look this way. So now they've been able to update that. You can scroll down and then see, keeping track of where your vehicle's location, bring your Porsche to your screen. You can make it your wallpaper. You can do a variety of different kinds of things. What I did then is to look at milestones. Well, actually spec, sorry. So here's the spec, just kind of like what we saw in the configurator. You can see what your included options are. You can see what your standard equipment is. So these are all just kind of duplicative of what we just saw with the spec, with the PDF, etc. But I will tell you as a pro tip, do compare this, because with the other video that I have on my 911 experience, the whoopsie that happened, that they did not match. And Porsche did not notify me that they did not match. My dealer did not notify me of that. I kind of had to take it upon myself, being a little obsessive compulsive, and sussed out what the problem was. And that is all talked about in that whole other video. So again, just continuing on the spec for the standard equipment, and just the big whoop-de-doo about Sirius XM, more about the standard equipment, and then milestones. So I want to pause here for a second. On the milestones, so here back November 2nd, I got that email, great news, they're going to get started. That doesn't mean that evidently that they're going to get started super immediately, because you can see from November 2nd, not until January 20th, later this month as I'm talking about this, it's the 3rd of January, for the green light for production. So in talking with my dealer about this, I can respec something. I could have a totally different color. I could do kind of whatever other than change it from a T. I can, do any of the other additional options or additions, deletions, whatever's up until the 20th. Once it hits the 20th, you are pretty much locked in. I feel comfortable with my spec at this point, so I'm fine to have it keep locked in. I would prefer for it not to be able to change. I'd love to have the aero kit, but I'll probably be talking to my dealer probably 10 minutes before January 20th and seeing if that comes back online. Work to begin in earnest on the 19th of February, so roughly about a month later after the green light. And then we've made your dream come true. They expect that the build time will go from the 19th to the 1st. And then what I talked about, the European delivery of being able to take delivery in Zuffenhausen. And you don't see a date on that. I have talked with my dealer about it, and he thinks because I would be back, I'm going to be out of the country, but I would be back in the country and able to do this probably the second or third week of April. So I don't know if they just kind of like sit on it till then, or if they say, hey, we can't wait that long, we've got to go ahead and ship it. I don't know exactly how that works. He didn't either. Porsche North America didn't either. So stay tuned. Once all this happens, I will explain what the experience was like and what what indeed turned out with being able to do the European delivery or not. So here's kind of where the rubber meets the road, pun intended. This is the actual spec and the build sheet, if you will, for my car. I'm going to blow this up because it's a little hard to read. So basically, to step you through, the base of the Carrera T was 143,000, which kind of blows me away. I did really wanted to have silver paint, so I did that. You can see all the zero cost options. I won't go through those, but the ones that I felt were very important is the front axle lift system. Again, I mentioned I had a 2023 C8 Corvette that had that, and you really do need it and day in, day out driving. I expect this to be a daily driver, and that I think saved a lot of anxiety on my part and wear and tear on the front chin and underneath of it. Pardon me. Like I said, I also get claustrophobic, so I want to be able to have that sunroof, and again, just really like how that looks. This is back when I first spec'd it, so it does show the aero kit. It's 7150. I believe with the aero not having the aero kit and just having that front fascia, that was around 5,000 something. So this will eventually change once we, start going into production. And then you can see that the European delivery in Zuffenhausen is the 6,000, like we saw on the spec. So if you total it up, there's really more zeros, I like that, than additional dollars. So at a very, very, very basic spec, the poor man's Carrera T, if you will, is 162 and change. So then there's delivery, there's charges and fees and taxes. I'm in Wisconsin, so it may vary for you. But here's the whopper. We know that there's now a variety of taxes with tariffs and things like that. And I was just sort of shocked to see a $30,000, almost $31,000 tax on top of this. So it really kind of took me from the mid 150s to starting off at 143 to really kind of pushing a $200,000. And I was just really kind of shocked. So pardon me, since I am choked up even talking about it. But in looking at this, like I said, I'm going to be leasing it. I believe I'm going to be trading in my Mercedes. So I think, I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe I'm going to be somewhere around $2,000 a month for a 10,000 mile a year, 2-year lease. So that's kind of how the math in my situation works, which is okay with me. That's about what the Corvette ran to, I believe. So, But anyway, this will be the most expensive car I have ever driven in terms of kind of quasi ownership vis-a-vis a lease. So, but I was just sort of shocked when I first saw that bottom line price was just really kind of amazing. So be careful if you do spec out your car or if you're finding them on the lots or, I know that Porsches are notorious for having had kind of huge price increases, just period, on the base price that you can see there. But that tariff really does kind of create an even bigger sticker shock. So I hope this walk through the configurator and my situation has been helpful for you if you're looking to place an order, get an allotment. Where I live in Wisconsin, they're very few and far between to be able to get. And like I said, it was I didn't say this, and I've tried probably starting 3 years ago to get a 911. For 2 years, could not get any allotment at a different dealership in Wisconsin. Was felt very fortunate to be able to actually make an order and spec it out and then get the bonus of being able to have the manual transmission, which I really did not expect and did not have my hopes up. So right now the hopes are that the car will be built. The super hope is that I can make it to Germany and be able to say hello to it and drive around, I hope, in something very similar to it for a few days at least, if not a week or two, and then be able to bring it back stateside and give an owner's experience of what it's like to drive the car, live with the car, have it be a daily driver, not be like some of the other videos, which are very helpful. I love them. Of like having it for a day and driving it around and seeing kind of what's what, but to be able to do a true full-throated owner's review of what it's like to own it, what it's like to maintain it, what it's like to have it as a daily driver, the quirks and features, etc., etc. So if you enjoyed this, please do hit like and subscribe. It's a very diverse channel with a variety of different series, a lot of things on cars and motorcycles, but other things as well too. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for listening, and really do appreciate your viewership with this and all the others that people have watched. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, and take care. Drive safe.